Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Shawn Singh, CEO of Nasdaq-listed VistaGen Therapeutics, to discuss a drug that has the potential to become the first FDA-approved on-demand treatment for social anxiety disorder. Shawn, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Jill, thanks. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today.
You got it. And let's start with what social anxiety disorder is and how many Americans are affected by it.
Social anxiety disorder, or SAD, affects over 23 million Americans, and it's characterized by a very intense fear or anxiety resulting from what are, for most people, common everyday social or performance situations, such as in an interview or meeting new people or even speaking with a cashier. During these situations, people fear judgment or humiliation, embarrassment, profound feelings of really, again, common everyday circumstances triggering anxiety that it's in a disorder that has a mean duration of about 20 years. So it's a chronic indication, but it appears in often very predictable timeframes and episodically, but very often. And the onset typically is in adolescence, around 16.
What is VistaGen's drug and where are you with clinical trials?
Our lead drug for social anxiety disorder is PH94B. It's a nasal spray, and it's an odorless nasal spray that we administer at microgram level doses, 3.2 micrograms, to achieve very fast acting or rapid onset anti-anxiety effects for those who are suffering from SAD.
Shawn, do you think this type of treatment has the potential for, let's see, COVID-related adjustment disorder, postpartum anxiety, PTSD, panic disorder, or any sort of generalized anxiety?
We think so. We think it has broad potential beyond social anxiety disorder. That'll be the lead indication. The acute treatment of social anxiety disorder, it's to think of it like you would maybe a rescue inhaler for asthma or a migraine drug right up front of a migraine episode. So in those cases where people can typically predict the onset of an anxiety-related disorder, whether it's a panic attack or social anxiety disorder, you have the ability to pull PH94B, we believe and we hope, out of your pocket or your handbag or your backpack, and right up front of that episode, be able to arrest those anxiety feelings. So the drug tends to work. We've seen in phase 2 development in about 10 to 15 minutes. We believe it should be able to be used multiple times a day if we see in phase 3 what we've observed so far in phase 2. So the phase 3 program is now underway. 2 phase 3 clinical trials. We call it the Palisade phase 3 program. Both of those are in U.S. multi-center, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies. So what we're trying to do is to observe the efficacy, safety, tolerability of PH94B in a phase 3 setting to see if we can replicate what we've been so encouraged by and excited by from phase 2 development. And again, that's rapid onset effects, but without the side effects and safety concerns that are typically associated with antidepressants, anti-anxiety drugs like benzodiazepines, for example. So there are many populations where, for example, let's say in postpartum anxiety, if a new mom wants to breastfeed but doesn't want to have a drug that's systemically delivered throughout her whole body, PH94B could fit into that category. It's not systemically administered, which is a very important distinction from all currently available antidepressants and anti-anxiety drugs.
Right, and that was the follow-up I was going to have to you, because as you mentioned, they can be addictive, often ineffective. So with PH94B, it sounds like it's more safe, and it sounds as if it could potentially be more effective.
Well, it does have the potential. It has life-changing potential, and that's why we're so excited about it. And that's always based on whatever clinical work has been done to date, what scientific work's been done to date. What we know so far is it doesn't bind to addiction receptors, the common opiate, dopamine, nicotine. We know it doesn't potentiate GABA, which is associated with benzodiazepines, drugs like Valium. So those are very important features that we think give it the potential to have a safety profile that's fundamentally different from what the current drugs present, as well as being able to generate a therapeutic effect fast, within 10 to 15 minutes, not 6 to 8 weeks like an antidepressant. And while benzodiazepines work quickly, they do carry significant risks, so much so that the FDA had a drug safety communication last September about the risk, which has risen considerably, the use of benzos during the pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, this could really be a game changer. It's no secret the issues that we have when it comes to benzos, when it comes to opioids, and how we could really mitigate that crisis. I mean, it really is a public health crisis that we're facing when it comes to abuse of antidepressants. So, I mean, this really could be a game changer.
Well, absolutely. And the challenge was formidable even before COVID. And all of those dynamics have simply been exacerbated during the pandemic. And the lingering effects of the pandemic will be for many years as to mental illness. So to have new treatment alternatives, to really go well beyond the current treatment alternatives that are available through FDA-approved drugs, that's what we're trying to do. We're doing that with depression, with PH10, our second asset. That's it through phase 2A development so far successfully. And then now with PH94B as a lead indication. If we are successful with the phase 3 development, what we would hope to do is file a new drug application with the FDA sometime in early 23. So we're not too far away. We should see data in the middle of next year from the first phase 3 study. Second phase 3 study will be right around this time next year, hopefully. So we're in the short stretch, hopefully, to see if what we've seen in phase 2 can be replicated in phase 3, sufficient to support a new drug application.
All right, Shawn, we look forward to updates. Thanks so much for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.